Howdy folks, today we are looking at the power supply from yesterday with the popped J10, right, my plastic pointer, with our popped J10 right here. So taking a look over this board, it appears to me, I could be incorrect, but on a just quick glance over, that is the only component that fried. So we're going to replace just that guy and see if this actually winds up putting out the voltages that it's supposed to. And we'll see if we can put the other K1000's power supply back and see if this one does what it's supposed to. So, all right. So let's see, we're up here and it's one lead is in the middle of this little triad right here, and then its other lead looks like it's up on its own next to a pair there. So if we flip this thing over, then here's our triad, and then this is going to be the single standalone lead, I think. Let's see. Yeah, because then that's that one. Yeah, then these two wind up being the one next to it. So it's going to be this and the one in the middle. And these are all held together, so that's fun. All right, let's get to it. Maybe could have started with one of the solder suckers instead of going straight to the wick. Pulled off some more first. All right, that looks to be pretty clean there. Okay, so hopefully that's enough to get this up and out of here. Yep. Okay, let's see if it doesn't want to move much with the plastic tool. Let's get under here. This might be a little small for my needle nose here. I can always try just grabbing it from the top. There we go, that loosened up. But I want to have the pins loose. Looks like there's still a non-trivial amount of solder on that middle pin there. So go after that a little bit more. picked up a little bit more there. Okay, so let's see if we can take this guy out now. There we go. And nothing left sticking through the back. So that's good. So yeah, let's give you a close up here. You can see that, yeah, focus, focus, focus. Or not. All right, no close up for you. Let's get out our 10 ohm replacements here. Should probably test this thing just to make sure. 10 ohms is really not much, so I don't know if this meter is going to be that accurate anyway. At 10 ohms, I can't be touching this thing. Let's try a better meter. There we go, 10.1. Close enough for me. All right, and of course, resistors are not directional. Let's see if any of this schmutz wants to come off here before we put the resistor back on. Hey, that worked better than I expected. All right, clean up a bit. So a little burn mark still there, but most of the schmutz is off, so that's good. Put that guy out. Set the other resistors aside before I forget about them. Set that guy aside before I forget about it. And down in between. There we go. And the other one. All right. So that goes like that. So I will, let's see what I want to do. Let's tick them over like this. We'll solder them down and then come back and trim them off. So we need to rebuild this whole blob here. Pretty good. And then we can bend that up, which gets us access here. Solidify that guy. All right. So that takes care of that. We just need to nip the ends off here. These aren't exactly my high precision nippers, but they seem to do the job all right. board. All right. Okay, that was fairly terrible, actually, looking at those now. Let's see if we can do any better than that. Get that to stand up. Get that to stand up. As we can get in here. All right. I think that's as good as we're going to be able to do without getting a smaller set of nippers. All right. So set aside all that stuff. And now I'll give you a decent close-up here. Of course it doesn't want to focus. There we go. So yeah, now you can see that it is pretty nice and clean. I'm really not complaining about it. You can't see where the pins are. So yeah, it looks pretty much like everybody else. Looks good from the top. So let's put it back in service and see what happens. In case anyone was wondering, yes, this is very unplugged this whole time. Okay, out of the way. This guy out. Set that over there. This one off. Always a dance of trying not to pull the headers apart, strip the wires out or anything like that. All right, and these screws aren't actually held in at all, but I'll need to back these out. And remember, we've got our little spacers here, which I'm gonna need to print up another set of, assuming we can get both of them working here. All right, so those go there. Let's see if we can drop these nicely into the holes. Of course, it's not going to be easy. It's never easy. This one. There we go. All right, that's in there. That's in there. Okay. And of course, our little blue paper things that we don't understand are now falling off. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, that's that one. And then this one. This is a fun little dance, right? Alright, that's in enough to hold it. And that's in enough to hold it. And just to make sure that these don't fall, we'll set them in their holes as well. All right, so hopefully this thing doesn't just smoke as soon as I turn it on. So we're going to plug it in. Again, being very careful here to not overly stress the board because I still haven't replaced the screws over here. Set this guy out of the way. Make sure you can see the meter. And now, let's see, can you see everything that's going on? Yeah, okay, you can see everything that's going on. So now, I'm going to flip this guy on. Hopefully no smoke comes out. All right, no smoke. That's a good start. So let's start with checking the incoming off of the transformer. Let's see. Oop, let's switch that to AC. So 8.15, 8, and these are 15 if I recall. 15, okay. And now I'll switch this over to DC. And okay, we've got our 3 blanks, then we should have ground, ground, 5, 5, 12, 12. Okay, so blank, blank, blank. Ground, ground. Okay, blank, 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 ground, ground. This should be 5. Okay. And this should be 5. And this should be 12. And this should be 12. Yep. And then this is blank. This is ground. And this is blank. And this is negative 12. Ooh. All right, our negative 12 line seems like it's got nothing. That's kind of interesting. I'm curious what's sitting on this resistor here. Not much. So we'll have to do a little bit of investigation to see why our minus 12 isn't working. Let's see, if we look at the chart here, where all does minus 12 go? Minus 12 looks like it just goes, the only place that goes is to the volume slider. Okay, so let's see, volume slider, 12 volt goes in, and then you've got your output goes over to the headphone jack. So our minus 12, as far as booting up, shouldn't matter. Because the other one that I was thinking was minus 12 up here, the orange one is actually positive 12. So I need to figure out why I've got that wrong on the, on the charts here. But these are my charts, which means they can very likely be flawed. They weren't made by somebody who knows what they're doing or anything like that. Okay. So let's look at the top rail and see what's going on there, see if the voltages are right. So here we go. So let's see, where do we start? If we look at the rail here, all right, the clip is on the back, it goes this way. So this should be our 5 volts clock reset ground ground. Yeah, 5, 5, 12 ground minus 12. So minus 12 all the way on the left. So we should have 5, which is good. Our let's see, this is our clock, which is nothing. I need to investigate the clock to figure out if the clock is supposed to be coming from the power supply or if the clock is provided by the motherboard to the power supply. Because that could be a potential issue over why these things won't boot. All right, so anyway, that's the clock. This is reset. Then we've got 2 grounds, ground, ground. Then we should have 5 volts. Yep, we should have another one with 5 volts. Then we should have positive 12. Then we should have analog ground. And then we should have negative 12. Negative 0.14. All right, so our negative 12 rail on both headers is dead. So no negative 12 rail. So that'll be something we have to investigate further in a future video. But again, being that minus 12, let's see, where does minus 12 go here? Minus 12 does go over into the main board, so we are likely not going to work without our minus 12. But I'm glutton for punishment. I like blowing things up, so I want to see what this thing does when I actually hook it up and give it some power. So my guess is that it's either going to do nothing again, because, you know, nothing is always fun, or something might blow up. It's always good when, you know, the magic smoke comes out. Or potentially we might get boxes again, because we like our little no boot boxes. We're always a fan of those. Make sure I've actually got both those headers on right. Okay. Set this aside. Flip this down here. Let's see, we definitely want you to be able to see what happens. All right, so we're zoomed out there so that you can see the display here. And boxes. All right, so it looks like we've got nothing but boxes, which is fine, but it does mean that our power supply, other than that 12-volt rail that we know is dead, is working. So that is quite a good thing. So the next thing I'm going to have to do is dig into what's going on with that 12-volt rail, and that'll be in another video. And in the meantime, I'll probably swap in the known good power supply and start going through kind of the usual suspects of why you get boxes but no boot. And that'll be yet another video. So yeah, getting lots of videos out of this thing. Alrighty, I think that'll do for today, and we will see you next time.